What's going on, people? This is Jesseville from jesseville.com, and I want to talk about dating non-American black women and having the same strict standards that you have for African American women or black women in America. So don't be red pill for African American or American women in general, and be blue pill for non-American women. Okay. Many guys will have all of these amazing, crazy, just unrealistic standards for African American women, and then when they date a white woman or an Asian woman or a Hispanic woman or a black woman from outside of the United States, they lower the bar. This is very much so a terrible mistake. You should have the same standards that you have for African American women or the women of your particular culture and ethnic group. You should have those same standards for all of the other women that you date. You should go through the same vetting process in terms of dating or courting that you do for all other for African American women. You should not be changing or trying to be biased in your assessment of these women as potential mates or partners, wives, or what have you. Okay. See, this is how you basically ruin your life, right? You get sucked in by the femininity of these women because they aren't indoctrinated with westernized values. They aren't indoctrinated with feminism and feminist ideals, and so that naturally allures you as a man. That naturally attracts you to the woman. It's like when they say opposites attract, that's actually what they're talking about. And so even if you really want to get on the esoteric level, right, they're not talking about necessarily man and woman. It doesn't matter the specific race, the specific gender or sex, right? It's actually talking about their energy. And that's why you can see homosexual people where there are two partners and one of the homosexual persons may be a very masculine guy or woman, right? And the other partner is a very feminine guy or woman, because it's those energies that opposites attract, not necessarily the gender. Because, esoterically, energetically, in terms of esoteric to spirituality, right? All human beings are both masculine and feminine. Let's get that straight. The thing is that it's a sliding scale, right? So let's say that you have the number 0. Imagine the number 0, and you have a line going to the right that goes from 1 to 100, and a line going to the left that goes from 1 to 100. On the left side is the negative or feminine side. On the right side is the positive or masculine side, right? Everyone starts with this base scale. And based on a person, you can go to the left and you go to the right. So you can have numbers, you can have a notch going to the numbers on both sides. So you may be, 80% masculine and 20% feminine. It doesn't matter how, you could be the most masculine dude possible. You still have some aspects of you that are feminine. And you could be the most feminine woman possible. You're going to have aspects of you that are a little bit masculine. And, this is based on your astrology. This is based on your numerology. This is based on your upbringing. This is based on the levels of testosterone and estrogen you have in your body, and what have you, based on your culture, your socialization, right? So, but getting outside of the esoteric thing, don't be red pill for African American women and then be blue pill for non-African American women, because this is going to set you up for failure. It's going to set you up to be destroyed financially, because at the end of the day, right, women are women. Okay, the main differences between women outside of astrology and numerology and upbringing and all of that things that affects them as their specific personality and behavioral traits is the culture, the socialization, and what have you. So it's based on all of these things, but you can still have women from these countries that, you know, may have ill intentions, that may have ill will towards you, that may be pretending to get something from you, like finances, like a visa, like a green card. So you have to vet these women properly. You have to ask the right questions. You have to understand and uncover, try your best to understand and uncover their motives and intents. See if their vision for life fits your vision for life. See if they're willing to be dedicated and devoted to you. See if they want to be led and they trust in your leadership. Because if a woman does not trust in your leadership, then you should not be with that woman at all, unless you intend to be in a 50-50 partnership type relationship, or if you intend to let her be the leader and lead you and the rest of the family. Which is, you know, you have some guys that are more feminine, they're a little bit more, a little bit less dominant, and a little bit more receptive, right? And you know, you have some men that want that dynamic, but the men that I attract and the men that I am talking to, the man that I am, knowing that I'm that type of man, I know I attract other men that want to be in the leadership role, that want to be dominant, that, you know, not necessarily we're not necessarily looking for a slave or a doormat, but we are looking for women that are cooperative, submissive, and feminine and receptive to our leadership, and that we can get at counsel from, we can consult with, and get their input, but the final decision rests with us at the end of the day. You know, that's what I'm looking for, and that's the type of men that I attract to me as friends, associates, and you know, supporters. Those are the type of men that I attract. You understand? So, you know, go through the vetting process like you would an African American woman. Don't cut corners. Don't go in too idealistically, thinking that, you know, everything is going to work out because she doesn't have these issues. Because you have to understand, right? Even though they don't have feminism to the level of degree, they don't have the level of Western influence and issues in those countries outside of America, they still have access to Western media. You know, they get some Western stations, so they're looking at African American movies and they're seeing some of the dysfunction that we display within our community, and it affects them not as much as it would an African American woman, you know, but it does affect them to a degree. They're listening to African American media on YouTube, where these men and women reflect that African American westernized dysfunction. Okay, and they're also on social media, where they're seeing conversations with African Americans, and they're mimicking some of the talking points and terms and what have you that African American women do say in the community, that they do say in the United States. Because you have to realize African American men and women are probably the most influential people on the planet. We are mimicked by people all over the world. You go to Asia, you go to Africa, you go to parts of the Americas outside of the United States, and you see people rapping hip-hop music, doing hip-hop music, which we created here in America. You see people wearing Biggie shirts and Tupac shirts. You see people doing gang signs, and they're mimicking all of these different things of Black American culture, some good, some bad, but they're influenced by us, by our the artistic sides of our culture is highly influential. So these women, some of these women, a good amount of these women, particularly the ones that are in the major cities in their country, which are definitely a lot more westernized than the smaller cities and the villages and the small villages within those countries, because they have access to internet. They have Western companies coming to these cities to try to create a market in those particular countries. You have to be aware of this, and you have to be able to guard yourself and have the same amount of put the same amount of due diligence in learning, understanding, vetting a potential mate that with non-African women that you would with African American women. So that's it, man. I just want to put your brothers up on game. I wanted to issue that warning out there, because there have been brothers that I know by association that have been basically bamboozled by non-American women. And I just had to let you brothers know that if you're gonna deal with non-American women, that you should have the same level of detail and put in the same level of due diligence of vetting these women and making sure they are who they say they are, and that they're dedicated and devoted to you as the man, and most importantly, dedicated and devoted to the vision and the plan that you present to her as the woman, so that she can help you and assist you in bringing that into fruition. But that's all I got on this one, guys. Peace.